Over the Matariki weekend, from June 20th to 22nd, 2025, the Federation of Rail Organisations New Zealand, FRONZ, marked its 50th anniversary with a spectacular celebration of the nation's railway heritage. Half a century of dedication to preserving and advancing New Zealand's rich rail history was honoured through a series of special excursions and shuttles that drew enthusiasts and the public alike. Hailed as New Zealand's largest heritage railway gathering in over a decade, saw Steam Incorporated, the Glenbrook Vintage Railway, and the Pahiatua Railcar Society deploy their mainline fleets. Steam, diesel, and railcar motive power combined to offer a diverse program of journeys originating from Paikakariki and Palmerston North. Our team was on location throughout the weekend, capturing the excitement from both lineside vantage points and onboard the historic locomotives themselves. This is the story of FRONZ50, a celebration of heritage rail in New Zealand. The festivities commenced early on Friday, June 20th, at Steam Incorporated's depot in Paikakariki on the Kapiti coast. Despite the pre-dawn hour, the depot was a hive of activity, with Steam Incorporated's AB Class 608 and JA Class 1271 steam locomotives being readied alongside DA Class 1431 and a fleet of meticulously restored passenger cars. As headlights pierced the morning darkness during pre-departure tests, Glenbrook Vintage Railway's DC Class 4818 arrived from Palmerston North. After being turned, the DC would be paired with DA 1431, and together they would lead the excursion north, with AB 608 and JA 1271 in light steam. With the consist complete, the train was piloted out of the yard, entering the national network just as first light broke. It then backed onto Paikakariki station platform to welcome its passengers. With the passengers aboard, the Celebrations Express swiftly departed Paikakariki and commences the journey north. The evocative sounds of horns and whistles echoed through the morning as the train neared the town of Waikanai. Getting back underway from a brief passenger stop at Waikanai, running alongside State Highway 1. Forest Lakes, just north of Otaki, the horns and whistles once again breaks the morning silence, marking the transition from the Wellington region into the Manawatu. A brief stop at Shannon saw the excursion cross a southbound freight before continuing its rapid progress to Palmerston North. Upon arrival in Palmerston North, a substantial crowd had already gathered, eager to witness the historic machines. Stalls offered opportunities to book remaining seats on upcoming excursions and purchase merchandise. Glenbrook Vintage Railway's WW Class 644 rested on a loop line, while the Pahiatua Railcar Society's RM31, having arrived from Pahiatua via the Manawatu Gorge, brought passengers from the Wairarapa. RM31 was slated for the cavalcade and an afternoon shuttle to Fielding. With all the motive power assembled and rail fans lining the tracks, the much anticipated cavalcade began. Leading the procession was Glenbrook Vintage Railway's DBR Class 1254. Built in 1965 as DB1005 by by General Motors Diesel Limited, it was rebuilt to DBR specification by Clyde Engineering in Australia in 1981. After 36 years of service with New Zealand Rail and Kiwi Rail, DBR 1254 joined the Glenbrook Vintage Railway in 2017, making its GVR excursion debut on January 25, 2020. It holds the distinction of being the first restored Mark II diesel locomotive to operate on the New Zealand mainline. Steam Incorporated's DA Class 1410, built by General Motors Diesel Limited in 1955, entered NZR service that November. Transferred to Steam Incorporated in 1988, it began excursion duties that same year. A lease to Glenbrook Vintage Railway in 1998 saw it operate on both mainline and GVR services, before returning to Paikakariki in June 2015. Following an overhaul, 1410 re-entered service on August 1st, 2020, and has since been a familiar sight on tours across both islands. Following 1410 was Steam Incorporated's DA 1431, built in 1957 by General Motors, in association with Clyde Engineering Company Australia. After 31 years with NZR, it joined Steam Incorporated in 1988, operating alongside 1410. After a stint at Glenbrook in 1998, it returned to Paikakariki in 2008 and mainline service in April 2011. DA 1431 is now a regular on Steam Incorporated's diesel excursions throughout New Zealand. Glenbrook Vintage Railway's DC 4818, built by General Motors Diesel Limited in 1964 as DA Class 1481, was converted to a DC Class locomotive by Clyde Engineering in 1983. It served NZR and Kiwi Rail for another 36 years before being sold to GVR in April 2019. Overhauled, it made its GVR mainline debut on November 5, 2024, and has since frequently partnered with DBR 1254. It was leased to Steam Incorporated in December 2024, assisting with summer excursions to the Hawke's Bay and Canterbury regions. Next was Glenbrook Vintage Railway's WW644, constructed at Dunedin's Hillside Workshops in 1915. After 54 years of service, primarily on the South Island's west coast, it was withdrawn in 1969. Sold to the Railway Enthusiast Society in 1970, it undertook a 5-day delivery excursion from Greymouth to Auckland. After a lengthy overhaul from 2002 to 2007, it saw regular GVR service until 2018, when it was withdrawn for another overhaul. This recent overhaul saw 644 rebuilt to National Rail Network standards, receiving modern technology and a new boiler. It hauled its first National Network excursion on March 25, 2023, and has since become a prominent mainline excursion locomotive. Notably, the week prior to FRONZ50, 644 made preservation history by steaming from Auckland to Palmerston North on a 5-day excursion, its longest journey in 55 years. The Pahiatua Railcar Society's RM31, named Tokumaru, was one of 6 standard rail cars built for New Zealand Rail between 1938 and 1939. These semi-streamlined rail cars only ran in the North Island, offering fast return services between Wellington and New Plymouth, and between Napier and Gisborne. RM31 made New Zealand rail history in March 2024, being the first standard rail car to visit the South Island. Over the course of 8 days, it travelled the length of the island from Picton to Invercargill, and traversed the Transalpine route to Arthur's Pass. The tour also included a visit to the Weka Pass Railway and the Canterbury Railway Society in Christchurch, where it was greeted by the Vulcan railcar, the standard railcar's South Island equivalent. Steam Incorporated's AB608, built in 1915 at Addington Workshops, entered NZR service that October. In 1925, it was named Passchendaele, in memory of over 5,000 railwaymen lost in World War I. After withdrawal in 1967 and storage in Dunedin, its historical significance led to its donation to the New Zealand Railway and Locomotive Society. Moved to Paikakariki in 1993 for overhaul, AB608 returned to steam in 2014 and has been featured in several World War I centenary events. It has since travelled extensively across both the islands, including a Centennial Rail Tour in 2015 around the South Island. Between 2017 and 2024, during the summer seasons, 608 was ferried to the South Island and would become the flagship locomotive of the Ponamu Tourism Group's Marlborough Flyer, offering tourists to the region steam-hauled trains out of Picton to the towns of Blenheim and over the Dashwood Pass to Seddon. It would later be seen traversing the main North Line coastal section, leading excursions as far south as Kaikoura. This weekend marked its major debut after a 10-year boiler inspection and fresh repaint. Bringing up the rear was Steam Incorporated's JA1271, built at Dunedin's Hillside Workshops in 1956. Its working life was cut short by a collision in 1970, leading to its withdrawal and official write-off in 1971. After serving as a hot water washout boiler, it was sold to Steam Incorporated in 1978 and returned to the national network on October 11, 1997. .1271 has since undertaken numerous excursions, including a South Island tour in 1997. Since then, 1271 has only returned to the South Island on only a few occasions. A visit in 2006 saw 1271 participate in the Dunedin Railway Station Centennial celebrations. The locomotive last returned to the South Island in 2024, replacing AB608 on the steam-hauled trains to Kaikoura, coincidentally being in the South Island the same time as RM31. 1271 has now been in preservation service longer than its original NZR tenure. Following the cavalcade, attention turned to Palmerston North's Kiwi Rail freight yard, where EF Electric class locomotives awaited their duties. The 4 diesels were coupled together, and alongside the 2 steam locomotives, together took turns offering an ultimate cab ride experience between Palmerston North Station and Milson Junction. Meanwhile, WW644 embarked on the Fielding Steam Explorer, running 2 return shuttles to Fielding. .644 takes the train in its stride, passing the Palmerston North Yard on the first shuttle to Fielding. Passing through Bunnythorpe. The first shuttle arrives into Fielding. It was here passengers disembarked and were able to visit the Fielding and District Steam Rail Society's depot, home to a collection of preserved heritage locomotives and rolling stock. Meanwhile, 644 was run around its consist and prepared for the return journey. The weather began to turn as 644 departed Fielding on the return journey to Palmerston North, leading bunker first. The second shuttle to Fielding, seen traversing the Bunnythorpe Dip, a notable section of track featuring a short, sharp 1 in 50 gradient either side of the dip's lowest point. Arriving back into Fielding in the evening light, Here the train would collect the passengers, returning to Palmerston North. By the time the train departed Fielding, dusk had settled in, seen crossing the Orua River. Due to delays, WW644 was unable to join AB608 on the Ararere Express to Woodville that evening. Our team, however, was granted a unique opportunity for a short cab ride on AB608 during its return from Woodville, concluding Friday's events. It's the beginning of a beautiful day in the Manawatu region, and large crowds had already started converging at Palmerston North Station. Today's highlight was the main trunk steam spectacular, featuring Steam Incorporated's AB608 and JA1271 on an ambitious journey from Palmerston North to Ohakuni. WW644 and the two DAs rested, their services not required until Sunday. DC 4818 and DBR 1254 arrived at Palmerston North, bringing passengers riding today's Steam Spectacular excursion up from the Kapiti region. The diesels were detached, and the two steam engines backed onto the head of the train. Augmented by GVR's 3 steel cars and van, together formed an impressive 14-car consist. The steam spectacular wasted no time departing Palmerston North, traversing the Bunnythorpe Dip with AB 608 at the head of the train. An imminent departure from Fielding. Captured north of Martin, near Rata. Traversing the beautiful countryside north of Hunterville. Passing through the small town of Mangaweka, with the rangers standing proud in the morning light. The final climb into Taihape. A brief servicing stop at Taihape Station for the engines to take on water and prepare for the challenging climb up to Wairuru. Underway from Taihape, seen from onboard JA-1271, AB608's engineer Philip Wagner and 1271's engineer Tim Kerwin get the two locomotives working in rhythm and begin the ascent. Through the valley towards Mataroa. A popular location for rail fans, the Turangarere Horseshoe Curve, situated on a 1 in 70 gradient, provides excellent opportunities for rail fans to capture the spectacle of steam. The excursion, seen from various angles and vantage points as it makes the final charge towards Waiouru Station. From here, the main trunk descends towards Tangiwai and Ohakuni. Waiouru sits at 814 meters above sea level and marks the summit of the climb from Taihepe. From here, the main trunk descends towards Tangiwai and Ohakuni. Shortly after Waiouru, the main trunk passed through Tangiwai, a significant logging hub. The excursion slows as it nears the rail bridge crossing the Whangehu River. It was here that on Christmas Eve 1953, a laha from Mount Ruapehu's crater lake destroyed the rail bridge over the river, leading to the tragic derailment of the Wellington to Auckland Express, claiming 151 lives. A memorial at Tangiwai stands as a poignant reminder of New Zealand's worst rail disaster. The excursion regained speed through Karioi. Arriving into Ohakuni, the destination of today's excursion. It was only a few kilometers north of here where the last spike was driven in 1908, completing the North Island main trunk.
Thank you very much. We'll take it now. I'll let the go and we'll open up now and then wander out now and then look. Thanks, mate.
Here, passengers disembarked while the locomotives were turned and serviced for the return journey.
Yep, that's all right.
The return trip to Palmerston North commenced in light rain, with JA 1271 leading the steam spectacular south out of Ohakuni, and the climb back up to Waiouru. climbing away from the Hautapu River at Hihitahi. Another servicing stop in Taihape allowed for watering and a photo opportunity with the crew. The journey between Taihape and Mangaweka featured crossings of several viaducts, including the notable South Rangatiki Viaduct, standing 78 meters above the Rangatiki River. powering through Manganoho and up the grade towards Hunterville. Arrival into Martin, a brief stop for passengers to disembark.
We have a light, ready with you guys now. Alright, away, out aboard.
Back underway, crossing the Rangatiki River again near Halcombe, and thundering into the night at Maiwa. The excursion arrived back in Palmerston North, ahead of schedule, a testament to its successful operation. The footplate crew disembarked, and Steam Incorporated personnel prepared the two steam engines for their light engine movement back to Paikakariki, concluding their FRONZ50 participation. DBR 1254 and DC 4818 would lead the steam engines back to Kapiti under the cover of darkness. Sunday morning once again drew large crowds to Palmerston North Railway Station for the final day of FRONZ50. Two major excursions were planned, the Mountain Thunder quadruple-headed diesel excursion and the Manawatu Gorge Trekker. GVR's WW644 would haul the Manawatu Gorge Trekker, comprising two shuttles from Palmerston North through the Manawatu Gorge to Woodville, marking 644's first preservation journey through the gorge. Meanwhile, Mountain Thunder would see Glenbrook Vintage Railway's DC 4818 and DBR 1254 alongside Steam Incorporated's DAs 1431 and 1410 travel from Paikakariki up the main trunk to Taumaranui. DC 4818 and DBR 1254 arrived in Palmerston North, having travelled from Paikakariki with the same 14-car consist used for Saturday's Steam Special. DC 4818, leading the quadruple header north through Bunnythorpe. Back in Palmerston North, WW644 backed onto the platform for the first Gorge Trekker train to Woodville. The WW took the weight, departing Palmerston North and making good pace alongside the freight yard. Traversing onto the Palmerston North to Gisborne line at Milson Junction, the excursion travelled through the outskirts of Palmerston North towards the Manawatu Hills. Smoke filled the morning air as the train neared Ashurst. After a brief stop, the train departed Ashurst, crossing the Manawatu River before entering the Manawatu Gorge. Above the train, the new state highway to Woodville, built after the old road closed in 2017 due to slips, offered a contrasting view. The train offers stunning views of the gorge and has multiple tunnels and bridges throughout. The original main road, still visible across the Manawatu River, lies abandoned. The train was met lineside at the eastern end of the gorge. Arrival into Woodville. Here, it ran through the station platform and briefly joined the widened upper line to clear the turnout for Woodville's balloon loop, where it was propelled around for the return journey to Palmerston North.
On the other side is getting nicer from the front of the train.
Back underway from Woodville, with the train now facing towards Palmerston North. The new State Highway overpass provides a spectacular view of the train navigating the western end of the Manawatu Gorge. entering the outskirts of Palmerston North. Leaving the gorge trekker, our team headed north to intercept the return of Mountain Thunder. The train was captured crossing the Makatote Viaduct, standing 259 feet above the Makatote River. Glenbrook Vintage Railway's DBR 1254 leading south. As evening descended, a quick glimpse revealed the impressive snow-capped Mount Ruapehu, New Zealand's largest active volcano, standing at 2,797 metres above sea level. The excursion made easy work of the grade into Waiouru. Light fades as the train crosses the Hautapu River and around the horseshoe curve at Turangarere. Darkness had fallen by the time the excursion reached Taihape. The train would make a brief passenger stop before continuing to press through the night to Palmerston North.